everyone, I have recently lost all the files on my computer. I have learned some very valuable lessons from this. Here in a little bit, I'm going to go through and make a time-lapse video of me setting up file folders, so that way whenever I save the project it's a lot easier. Also, keep my ideal organized and the flow go a little bit better. Now, as far as the dungeon, I really liked where the ideal had come from, but where it was going, due to the lack of organization, I did not like where it was going. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good to let the creative process flow. That river of thought is where creative ideals come from. And those creative ideals are finalized and organized, so that way you can fine-tune them that's easily presentable to other people who you want to share it with. Okay, so on to the dungeon project. Before, when I started this project, I had no idea what I was going to create. I just let it flow. I conceptualized the idea. And the previous work has helped me to come up with the story and a whole line of projects. So the dungeon is actually just a sub-scene to a main scene into a story. I just hadn't realized that as I was creating it. Now I have. So I need to organize my project in order to finish it. So the dungeon is a sub-scene to a main scene in a story, which is a keep that guards a mountain pass along a trade route from a kingdom to another. And this is coming out of my brainstorming notes here. A farmer in the valley had made an attempt to smuggle out some cases of ale to avoid paying a ridiculous tax, and is kept in the dungeon. The guy's boy attempts to free his father and flee to another kingdom before he is moved to a more heavily guarded camp. I know, there's not a whole lot to this story right now, but the amount of work that's going to go into this small little scene here is quite a bit for one person. I'm going to need to model the whole keep. I'm going to need to model the sub-scenes into it, like the dungeon, which is the first project I'm going to be sharing with you guys. The hallways, the stairs, in and out of the dungeon, and in and out to different levels of the keep, depending on where this particular scene of the story goes to. The character, the lord of the keep, his soldiers, his subjects, citizens, the boy's father, guards, all that. Assets, the chairs, the beds, the cots, pictures on the walls, all that. I'm gonna need a model. Anyway, as far as the dungeon scene goes, that is all I'm gonna worry about right now, because I have the basic idea of the story. I don't want to put too much of the story out there right now. So the keep is basically guarding a mountain pass, which is part of a major trade route from one kingdom to another. I just want to worry about the dungeon. That is the first project I'm going to work on. In this dungeon, Frigg, the plains dwarf, is kept for smuggling ale to cousins of his in the Iron Hand clan of mountain dwarves. So, to organize this project and to give you an idea, because I'm going to time-lapse a lot of this, I'm going to just kind of roughly explain to you what I'm doing. The keep is going to need cells with different various assets, like the cot, a bucket to piss in, so to speak, the interrogation rooms, and whatever you call him, I guess the dungeon master. I'm going to have to come up with a better name than that. His quarters, his guards' quarters, a larger room where they're kind of kept in mass on chains to poles and stuff. I've seen them in other movies. And they're basically just waiting on transport to much larger camps and death camps. I worry about some of the finer details like gates, a drainage, a stairwell that goes out of the keep. That's all what I'm going to be modeling right now. So we're off to the project.